right, welcome back to College Prep Math. We're going to look at Chapter 5, the first section of Chapter 5. Chapter 5 is about measurements. And this first section is measuring length. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the metric system. So let's look at our objectives real quickly. We're going to use dimensional analysis to change units of measurement. And in order to do that, we're going to use some unit fraction multipliers. We're going to understand and use metric prefixes. We're going to convert units within the metric system, and we will also use dimensional analysis to change to and from the metric system back to the English system. All right, so let's look at length measurements in the English system. So in the system that we use here in the US, 12 inches is 1 foot, 3 feet is a yard. We also have 36 inches as a yard, or 5,280 feet is a mile. Now, from those equivalences, those relationships, we can create what we call unit fractions. A unit fraction is just a 1. Its value is a 1. So, for instance, down here, 12 inches divided by 1 foot, that's 1, because 12 inches is exactly equal to 1 foot. And we'll use this as a multiplier to convert units. And we will use these others as well. So I'm going to put a star by these because these are going to be my go-to. And maybe we should have those written on a sticky note or something, have easy access to them because we're going to need those. So here we go. Let's do an example. Oh, whoops. First, a discussion of what dimensional analysis is. Then we'll do an example. So to convert a measurement to a different unit, you multiply by a unit fraction or by unit fractions. Sometimes you have to multiply by more than one. The given unit of measurement should appear in the denominator of the unit fraction so that it cancels upon multiplication. The unit of measurement that needs to be introduced should appear in the numerator, which is the top, so that this unit will be retained upon multiplication. What the heck does that mean? We'll see in an example. So let's dive in. Example 1, using dimensional analysis to change units of measurement. So we're going to convert 40 inches to feet. So I'm going to start by taking that 40 inches and putting it over 1. I can just put a denominator of 1 on there, right? Now I'm going to multiply by my unit fraction. I need to have inches in the denominator, and I need to have feet in the numerator. Well, I have a nice unit multiplier, a unit fraction, that has 1 foot over 12 inches. Okay? So we're really, in effect here, we're multiplying by 1, and that doesn't change the value, it just changes how it looks. So I can cancel the inches. 40 times 1 is 40. 1 times 12 is 12. And the surviving units are the feet that I needed. So we went from inches to feet. Now we're just going to reduce that fraction to 10 over 3. 40 divided by 4. 12 divided by 3. You can use a calculator. You can do it by hand, whichever. So either 10 thirds feet or 3 1/3 feet. Or, if you want, 3.33, where the 3 repeats. Right? I could put a little bar over that to indicate that it repeats, or I can round it to however many decimal places I want, but it's a repeating 3. If you grab the calculator, 40 divided by 12 is a repeating 3. Okay? Let's say we had to round it to 2 decimal places to the nearest hundredth. We'd have it right there. But it wouldn't be exactly equal to that. It would be approximate. So I'll put the little squiggles to indicate that we've approximated it. We've rounded it off. Okay? If I wanted it exact, I could put 3.3 with a bar over the 3, like this. That would mean 3 with the repeating 3 as a decimal. Okay, next one. 13,200 feet, we're converting it to miles. So I'm going to look at this as a fraction, so it makes it a little easier to see which units are canceling where. So this is 13,200 feet over 1. Now I'm going to introduce my unit fraction that I need to multiply by. So I need to have feet in the denominator, and I need to have miles in the numerator. So 1 mile is 5,280 feet. That's my unit multiplier that's going to work for me here. So I'll get the feet to cancel, and I've got 13,200 over 5,280. And this is now going to be in miles. So I grab my calculator. I do 13,200 divided by 5,280, and I find out it's 2.5. And I have not rounded that. It's exactly 2.5. But the units on that are miles, and the units are super important. Okay? All right, next example. Now, I could do this in with one unit fraction, but I'm going to actually use 2 to show you how that works. So I want to convert 9 inches into yards. So I'm going to look at that as being a fraction with a denominator of 1, so that makes it easier to see which units are canceling. And then I'm going to multiply by, let's see, I need to convert to yards. So I need the inches to disappear. So let's say I've forgotten how many inches are in a yard. So I'm going to switch to feet first. So I do 1 foot divided by 12 inches. That will get the inches to cancel, but now I have feet and I need to switch to yards. So I could do 1 yard. Need the yards in the numerator. I need the feet to cancel, so I'm going to do 3 feet in the denominator. And then I'm going to go zoom, zoom. Feet are gone. Inches are gone. 9 times 1 times 1 is 9. I've got 12 times 3, which is 36. But notice I'm going to have a 3 that's going to cancel because both the numerator and denominator are divisible by 3, so I can reduce that fraction. I can actually take out a 9. It's 1/4, or if, as a decimal, it will be 0.25. Either one of those is fine. So either 1/4 of a yard or 0.25 yards. Make sure you read the directions in Math Excel to see whether they want decimals or whether they want fractions. Usually they'll tell you, I think. Okay? All right, let's go on. Now we're going to study the metric system for a bit. It is used in lots of industrialized countries. It is based on powers of 10, so it's pretty easy to use. The prefixes that are commonly used is kilo, which is 1,000 times the base unit. And for measurement of length, so for length, the base measurement is going to be meters. We'll get to that in the next slide. So I won't write anything extra. So look at these. One thing I did want to point out is that the deca, which is DA, and the deci, they're both related to 10, but the deca is 10 times the base unit, and the deci is 1/10 of the base unit. Don't get those two confused. All right, so let's go to the next slide. Commonly used units of linear measure in the metric system. So the basic unit of linear measurement is the meter, okay? And the abbreviation for that is M for meter. See it down here in the table, the meter. That's our basic unit of length measurement in the metric system. And then the others are just closely related to that. The decameter is 10 meters. The hectometer is 100. The kilometer is 1,000, right? 1,000 meters. And then we go the other way. A decimeter is 1/10, or in other words, another way of looking at this would be it takes 10 decimeters to equal a meter, or, well, let's do that. That equals 1 meter. Okay. 100 centimeters would equal 1 meter, or 1,000 millimeters would equal 1 meter. Now, each one of these gives us some unit multipliers. So if you want to use unit multipliers to convert, you can. So we have unit multipliers that we could use. For instance, we could have 100 centimeter over 1 meter as a unit fraction, right? Or we could have the reciprocal of that, which would be 1 meter over 100 centimeters, right? We could have those if we wanted to. All right, so on we go. So changing units within the metric system. Our textbook does it a little bit differently. Instead of using unit fractions, they actually use this cool little diagram that I really like. It's very cool. So if I start with the middle with meters and I wanted to change that to decameters, I just multiply by 10. So as I'm going this way, I multiply by 10. Okay, but as I'm going this way, oops, I think I just said that backwards. If I have a meter and I want to know how many decimeters are in that, I multiply by 10. Okay? If I have a meter and I want to know how many centimeters, I multiply it by 100, 10 twice, right? If I'm going this way, if I have meters and I want to know how many decameters, I divide by 10, and so forth and so forth. Okay? All right. So I'm going to use this little chart that they have. And you can refer back to this. Well, let's dive into some examples. So to convert 27 meters to centimeters, to convert meters to centimeters, notice they redrew the little chart for us here. Okay, so we started with meters and we're converting to centimeters. So we multiply by 10 and then we multiply by 10 again, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do 27. And you can either multiply by 10 or just remember that when you multiply by 10, it moves the decimal point 2 places to the right. So we do 27, and then we multiply by 10. That's going to add a 0, right? My decimal point was there. Now it's got to go here, and then it's got to go here. So 2,700. What units do we put on that? Centimeters. Okay? So we just move it 2 places to the right, and we'd have 2,700. Or you could use unit multipliers, right? I could take my 27 meters over 1, and I could multiply it by, if I remember the conversion factors, it's 100 centimeters in every 1 meter. And I can cancel the meters, and I have 2,700 centimeters. So you can either use their little tool right here, or you can use unit fractions. Either way, you'll get 2,700 centimeters. All right, we're going to convert from 704 millimeters to hectometers. So we start at the millimeters. So we have this little diagram. We're starting at the millimeters. So we're starting down at this end, and we're moving to the left. So we're going to move the decimal point to the left by 5 places because we got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In other words, we're dividing by 10 5 times. So we do 704. Let's move the decimal point. So it's right here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And move across a 0. And move across another 0. It's going to be right there. And that's the same thing that would happen if you took 704 and divided by 10 5 times. So we have 0.00704 hectometers. And we're done. Okay, next example. If I wanted to convert 9.71 decameters to decimeters, use my handy dandy little chart here. I'm going to start at decameters, starting here, and I'm moving to the right. So I'm going to move my decimal point to the right. In other words, I'm multiplying by 10 twice because in every decameter there are 10 meters. So I'm just going to move it 1, 2. So I multiplied by 10, and then I multiply by 10 again, and I get 971 decimeters. And we are done. Okay. Next example. Oh, it's not an example. We're going to start converting the other way. So we're going to convert from English to metric and metric to English. And we need these relationships right here in this table. And from those, we're going to create some unit fractions. So I have a unit fraction that says 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. That's not exactly correct, but I mean, these conversions are exact. Oh, okay. The other ones are approximate. Is it exact? Close enough. 2.54 centimeters. I have also 2.54 centimeters over 1 inch, depending on which way I need to convert, right? So from this table, I can get my conversion factors, my unit fractions, in other words, right? So here we go. Example 3. We're going to change 8 inches to centimeters. Actually, they've done this one for us. They did the whole example for us. So notice what they did. 8 inches is 8 over 1, 8 inches over 1. Then we multiply by 2.54. Notice the units we want to convert to are in the numerator. The units we want to get rid of are in the denominator. Okay? We cancel the units we need to have going away. 8 times 2.4 centimeters, what we have left. We grab our calculator. We do 8 times 2.4. We get 20.32 centimeters, and we are done. Example 3b, using dimensional analysis to change to and from the metric system. Oh, so we're still converting. So this time we're going to convert from miles to kilometers. All right, so we're going to use, they told us what units per action to use. That was nice. But see, if we don't remember, or if we don't have that, we can go back to this table and we can find it. 1 mile is approximately 1.6 kilometers. Okay? So that's where that fraction came from. So we're going to take 125 miles over 1, and we're going to multiply by, I need the kilometers in the numerator. I'm switching from miles to kilometers. So they gave me the right one. That was nice of them. And then I'm going to do 125 times 1.6. That will be kilometers. And I'm going to grab my calculator and I'm going to multiply 125 times 1.6, 200 kilometers, and then we are done. Okay, next example. We're going to convert to 26,800 millimeters to inches. So first thing we're going to do is we don't have, in the last table I gave you, I don't have a relationship between millimeters and inches. So I'm going to, first of all, change my millimeters to centimeters. Okay, so use the conversion to get from 26,800 millimeters to 22,680 centimeters by just moving that decimal point one place this way, all right? Remember that little diagram. Let me pull it back up again. Millimeters to centimeters to decimeters to meters. I don't need the whole thing. I just need to go from here to here, right? So from there to there, I'm going to the left. So I move my decimal point to the left. See how easy that is? Okay, so I'm going to first of all change my 26,800 millimeters to 2,680 centimeters. And then I'm going to use my unit fraction, my conversion factor, if you will, that says 1 inch, 2.54 centimeters. Apologies for the bell. 1 inch, 2.54 centimeters. And I'm going to have 2680 divided by 2.54. And that is going to give me inches. I grab my calculator and divide 2,680 divided by 2.54. And I'm just going to round this to the nearest whole inch. So I'm going to put an approximation symbol. To the nearest whole inch, it's 1,055. It actually goes 0.11811, and it goes on, but we're just going to round it to the nearest whole inch. Just on Math Excel, make sure you look and see how they want you to round it. And that is the end of our 5.1 notes.